besties, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyan and this is Kyan is Booked, and today I am introducing yet another reading vlog. I honestly love doing reading vlogs, and it's really funny too because you guys don't know about so many of them that I've started that I'm not done with yet. So I've done so many introductions. And you'll probably see me in the same sweatshirt for a couple of them, but I've done so many introductions for this. I digress. As you can probably tell from the title, we're reading 4 books that were released like end of December. Yeah, all of them were released at the end of December. So I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to read these 4 new releases. Some of them I can probably speak intelligently about, but I think there's like 1 or 2 that I don't really even know the premise. So let's talk about it. First up is going to be State of Bliss by Marie Force. This is going to be the next book in the First Family series following Sam and Nick. This is book 5 in the First Family series, but we've been following them in the Fatal series for 16 books. So I'm having a great time. It reminds me so much of J.D. Robb's In Death series, which, I cannot recommend enough. If you haven't started reading it, I will drop the first book in the description box below. You can thank me later. So we're reading State of Bliss. I honestly haven't even read the synopsis because I'm gonna read it and I don't need to read the synopsis. So that's one of the ones we're gonna be reading. Next one's gonna be Hans by S.J. Tilley. So I've read Nero, King, and Dom. So this is the next one. He's a suspected human trafficker. But we have like a little scene at the end of Dom's book where he's like, I'm not trafficking what you think I'm trafficking. It was like very dramatic and stuff. So we have that going on. This one released on the 28th. So I was like, might as well dive in for a good time. Then we have Too Far by Abby Millsaps. And this one released on the 29th of December. And I've read the first 2 books in the series. So this is a Why Choose. There's 4 guys, 1 lady. What do you call it? Football romance. And it's the romance of how they kind of get past like the past trauma and the drama. Like she's kidnapped. I say kidnapped loosely because she's like living on like a lake mansion with the 4 guys, and like they're super rich, and it's basically his dad. One of the guy's dads is a football star. He plays quarterback for the South Carolina team. And so he pays for like the 4 of them to live together. Like they're all kind of like not misfits, but like they're brothers of the heart type situation. So this is book 3, and I don't want to say like too much because I don't want to give too much away. Plus I need to get back into the story to really kind of like speak intelligently about it. So stay tuned for that. And I was only going to do 3 books, but I added this one, The Season of Secrets by QB Tyler, because this released on the 27th. And I've been wanting to read QB Tyler's books. And I was kind of just like, yeah, let's do it. So that's how we ended up at 4. Because like, I think 3 is a perfect number. It is a magic number after all. But I was like, let's do it. I don't know too much about it other than the fact it's like 200-ish pages. Everybody who's been posting about it has had nothing but good things to say about it. So I'm excited to dive in. Probably the shortest intro I'll ever do on a vlog, but stay tuned because I have absolutely no idea which book I'm going to pick up first. Yes, I told you all the days that they release, but there's no promises that I don't pick up the one that released last first. So stay tuned for the next clip to see which book we are going to be chatting about. Oh, anyway, that's my hair straightener. Welcome to, this is my first check-in with y'all on my new release reading vlog. I'm having the best time so far. So as you can see, we're in my room. I'm about to watch some Bones. And I've decided like over the break that I'm going to, what do you call it? I'm gonna start rewatching Bones because Booth was my first like, who did this to you hero, and I adore him. So I'm gonna rewatch, but I've gotta finalize my grades. And I figured, why not do that over an episode of Booth and Brennan? So that is what we're gonna be doing this evening, but I wanted to come and I wanted to chat real quick. So the first book, I actually have finished the QB Tyler book, so The Secrets of the Season. This follows Wes and Reagan. And what's really crazy is I've been really craving workplace romances with like the hot billionaire, and it's almost like QB Tyler was in my brain because meet the hot billionaire Wes and his assistant Reagan. I mean, it was perfection. This is also too, we're marking the very first full-length novel that I've read from QB Tyler, not just novellas. So really excited about that one. I haven't read anything. So like if Wes and Reagan, we've met them previously. I haven't read anything about them. So, and I didn't want to hold off on reading it because it was a new release to go back, because I'm always going backwards and like reading people's backlists and stuff, even though that's always a fun time too. Anyway, I'm not going to go off on that rant. So it delivered, okay? Wes has had like the biggest crush on her for probably the longest time, and Reagan's always found him attractive like ever since she got hired. She like obviously really needs a job. She lives with her dad, and there's a significant age gap. I don't even, what is it, like 12, 13, maybe even more than that years. We're all legal though, ladies and gentlemen, so don't stress yourself out. Anyways, so there's this like company Christmas party, and she ends up leaving with him, and then one thing leads to another, and we've got this like really forbidden relationship happening. He's like the owner of the company, the COO, but there's a board, right? And like obviously HR policy is like you can't fraternize with people who report to you. And he's ready to tell the world about it because, you know, he's been ready for them to be together for much longer than she's been ready for it. So he's just like, no, I want to tell, like, we need to get like blah, blah, blah. And then like, it just really gets to a point where like, he's worried about backlash because he feels like, the guy who's also interested in Reagan is going to go to HR and like out them. So like it's just, I just love how possessive he is. I love how like, that's my woman he is. Like he just has everything that I love in an alpha male, and I ate it up. Like I literally laid on my couch in the other room, like queued it up on my Kindle and read the entire thing in one sitting. Like I was like, I'm not going to stop. It's whatever. I had a great time. 5 stars to Wes and Reagan. Was absolutely the billionaire like workplace romance that like I was looking for, like that forbidden angsty aspect of like being attracted to somebody, like knowing you can't be with them. It just was everything that I wanted, and I just had the best time reading it. I'm really excited to dive more into QB's backlist now that I've read one of her full-length novels. I really think that I'm going to enjoy a lot of the books that she's written, especially since like I know she's known for like forbidden age gaps. That's like her jam. So next time I need a forbidden age gap, I know exactly where I'm headed. I'm hoping for some more like workplace romances. Like I'm saying, I would have already put my New Year booktuber tag out, so I will link it up there. But I talk about like wanting the billionaire or like just workplace romances in general to come back, because like when I first joined Bookstagram and like I first discovered BookTube, I like that's what was really popular. And then they kind of like, you know, cowboy romances and small town romances is kind of like paved the way, but like I just miss like the angstiness of like being in love with your billionaire boss. Like it just, and this one delivered so much. Like I appreciated like the steam and how like it made sense for the characters in the story. Like there's like so much steam, there's so much spice, but the relationship was built. And like what I really liked about it is like Wes really drove the relationship, so you knew how serious he was about the said relationship. So yeah, that, like, we love it. So I finished that one, and then I immediately started Too Far by, I don't know why I blinked there for a second. Immediately started Too Far by Abby Millsap. So this is book 3 in the Boys of Lost Chapel series. So this one is going to be like kind of hard for me to discuss because it is a trilogy, obviously, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but like we'll kind of just like talk about the basics, okay? So there's 4 guys. You have Kendrick, Kylan, Decker, and Locke. Kendrick, Decker, and Locke all play football, and Kylan is an analyst for the team, I think is like the best way to say it. I don't want to spoil what he does because I think it's actually like really cool what he does and like how he does it. So I don't want to like out it, right? So we have like chronic illness rep. We have Kylan. I don't think this is the spoiler. Anyway, Kylan is on the spectrum. So I think that the author does like a really good job of representing all three of those things really well, because two of the guys struggle with chronic illnesses. And we see them kind of battling that as they play football. And then, you know, Kylan with his tendencies and how like that's kind of like made him a loner outside of like the four guys, because the four guys have been friends for years. And so like when Josephine, Joe, like gets entered into the dynamic, the four of them have always been like on the same page and like together, and it's been like 4 years, et cetera, right? So then she enters into the picture, and in book 1, the guys think that she saw something that she shouldn't have seen, and then they kidnap her. Obviously, that's the only logical explanation for what to do in this situation. So here we are 3 books in. So this is the 3rd book, like I said, in the trilogy. And I really like how we immediately picked up right at where the cliffhanger was. Because sometimes when you come back from trilogies, like you're pushed into the future a little bit, and then they go back and they talk about what happened, but not this one. Like we just like immediately got thrown into the fire, and we see kind of like the ramifications of the decision that one of the guys made. The big conflict in this one is solidifying themselves as a group, because there's one holdout. I'm not gonna say who the holdout is, but really solidifying themselves as a group in order to move forward together as like a five. I don't know what would that be. I'm gonna quiet. I don't know. Whatever. As a group of 5, because everybody has to be on the same page. Everybody has to be on board. Like there has to be a lot of communication in the group, and there really hasn't been enough communication. So that's one of the big things. And then another big thing is the fact that the what we refer to as like the NFL essentially has like an all access pass to them, and they're not ready to out the nature of their relationship, and they're not ready to share certain dynamics, and aren't willing to expose Josephine, aren't willing to expose Josephine too much just yet, which causes a little bit of a dynamic. There's a really dramatic situation that happens. It is one of the guy's faults. So, I don't know what percentage I'm in, but I've read a pretty decent amount at this point, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Like, I know that we're going to end up with a happily ever after, so that's kind of what has me holding on at this point. And I always struggle, like, sometimes when, like, a third act breakup is the conflict, but I feel like there's going to be, like, another... All I can see is Belle just, like, having the time of her life in the corner. So, like, out of the corner of my eye, I just see her just making herself comfortable there. But I really do. I love the dynamic. I'm not really going to rank the guys. I like each of them for, like, the different things that they bring to the relationship. But what I really appreciate about them is just, like, how caring they are about Josephine and how protective they are given her past. When it comes to like how much access the media is going to have to her. So I think it's been like a very interesting dynamic of, like, so far. I appreciate the fact that like she was honest with them in the 2nd book, because it's really important for like what we're going through in the 3rd book. But yeah, like I'm really enjoying it. I'm glad that I didn't have to wait too long after that cliffhanger, because I read the other 2 books like at the beginning of December, and it just so happened that this one was dropping at the end of December. So stay tuned for updates. I'm so far really enjoying this vlog, and I don't usually always read new releases when they release, so it's like kind of fun to be like in the know about this kind of stuff like as the books are coming out. So I'm gonna update grades, watch an episode of Bones, and hang out with the pup, and we'll see in the next clip. So I just got done working out. So that's the pink face for ya. But I actually have a decent amount of updates that I needed to do, and I'm about to get behind on my updates, so I wanted to pause for just a second and actually sit down and do this so that I could keep reading. So I finished Too Far by Abby Millsaps, and like this is obviously the third in a trilogy, so I don't want to give like too much away, but I really liked the way that it ended. I haven't read the bonus like novella from her newsletter yet. I have it downloaded, but I haven't read it yet. But there were 3-4 epilogues at the end, and I'm an epilogue girly. I know some people aren't, but I like to stay with the couple for like as long as possible. So I was a huge fan, but we pick like literally right up after the cliffhanger in this one, which is, hopefully I said that in the last clip, I can't remember, but we make some decisions, right? And by we, I mean, like one of them messes up. I'm not going to tell you who messes up, although if you're reading it, you could probably guess. One of them messes up. So then it was like him versus the rest of the group. But then he was the only one that could do what needed to be done to break away from the person they needed to break away from so they could finally be free, right? There's a lot of giving up in this one. There's a lot of compromise. There was a lot of coming back from like being hurt. And I really appreciated how it was highlighted and it was talked about. And I really do like how our main character, she gave no quarter for these gentlemen, and she was just like very, like, I like how realistic she was with herself when she was like still mad, but she was like, I still love him, but like I'm mad. And Joe's like, I don't want to love you, but I still do, but like I can't. So it's just like, it was that matter of trust. And so like, I don't want to like say too much because obviously like I don't want to ruin the ending, but I felt like for this couple, like I hated how it had to end in order for them to like be free, but I love the fact that they were free. So, I mean, I wish they could have had it all, but like, let's be honest guys, you can't have it all. So, definitely 5 stars for that one. I thought it was a great ending to the trilogy. Next up is The State of Bliss. I've listened to like 2 or 3 more chapters on that one. So I'm probably going to finish it tomorrow if I had to guess. I'll let you guys know how I feel about it. But I mean, there was so they're on vacation right now, like I mentioned, and there was a mass shooting somewhere. So it's like interrupted, and it really like bothers Nick because people keep commenting about the fact that he's an unelected president. But like the point of a vice president is to take over for a president. So like I just like Sam, his wife, the fictional character in the book, gets like upset when people say like he's like not a real president because like he wasn't elected by the people. I get upset by it too because like when you accept a vice president, we accept the fact that like they're literally, one of their biggest jobs is to be there if something happens to the president. And so yeah, so like I'm with Sam, like those people are annoying. I'm really loving it though. I like how Cameron and Gigi, we're starting to see a little bit more for them. I hate the fact that like Stahl's drama's back. I hate it and I love it at the same time because it's like, I don't want to give him any more airtime, but I find it interesting how deep the conspiracy goes with him and like how far he took it. And I am very interested to see like if we dive into like him getting psych evals and stuff like that based off of whether or not he's responsible for these missing women. So today's Wednesday, and I really would like to finish it tomorrow. So my plan is to finish Hans tonight because, confession, a little further in that one than I thought I was going to be. But so my plan is to finish that one tonight. I'll update you guys tomorrow, and then I'll close the vlog out with State of Bliss, which is how I opened it. So very fitting, I feel like. So Hans, that's literally his name, is, so this is book 4 in the Alliance series. I've read all 3 and, that come before this. Like I know you could read them as standalones, but I like how they kind of like build on each other. So you have Nero, King, and Dom, and Nero and King were the Alliance. Dom marries King's, half-sister. So he's a part of it by marriage. He also kind of loves her too. So like, that's cute and that's cool too. So then now we come to Hans, and Hans has always been rumored to be somebody who traffics women. But as we get to know him, like we understand that he's actually out there avenging women who have been trafficked because his sister was trafficked and killed when he was 19. So he's basically spent his entire adult life like avenging her death and trying to run down the person who he knows is responsible for the death of his sister, but like was never caught. And so he works with another group. Because I don't know, like, I can't quite tell if he's in the Alliance or not. Like, so we're gonna see, and I won't spoil that for you. But it is a part of the Alliance series, so I guess if we're using like context clues, then the answer would be yes. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So he has a crush on Cassandra, aka Cassie, who is his neighbor across the street. And she leaves like really horrible tasting baked goods on his porch for him. And like he eats them all, even though like it's absolutely disgusting. And he's had the biggest crush on her since like day one, like since they shook hands when she moved in a year ago. But he understands like how dangerous his life is and like how many people are after him. So he doesn't want to involve her in it. But guess what? He just can't resist her. So he gets in a particularly nasty fight. And she comes over to like take care of him or whatever. And they end up like spending the night together. Nothing happens. Like it's like the craziest thing. And then all of a sudden, like she slept in his bed. Like he can't get her out of his head. Like blah, 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 blah. And then she kills somebody. And that's where I am. And I don't think her killing somebody is in the synopsis, but I also don't think it's like a secret either because like people are after him. And if they're smart, then they understand the way through him is through her. We've all read Mafia books before. And if you haven't, I highly recommend them, y'all. Like jump on the train. I am having the best time. So like I have really loved the Alliance series. I loved Nero. I loved King. Dom, I'm not going to lie to y'all. Dom's been my favorite so far. But Hans is like, he might inch Dom out. I don't know. We'll see. But I've really enjoyed where SJ has taken this. I don't know if I was supposed to say the whole thing or just like the initial. I'm going SJ. So I've really loved where she's taken it. And I'm really excited that after I finished Dom, I only had to wait a couple of days to pick this book up because I was very interested based off of how Dom ended, how Hans's book was going to go. So that's where we are. I'm done with Too Far. Done with an amazing QB Tyler book. Actually, like, we're 2 5 stars in at this point. So this vlog's going really well because I've really enjoyed, like, I love the ending to The Boys of Chapel Hill. And then JoJo's best friend is going to be getting a series of her own. That's the next one that's going to be coming out, so can't wait. QB Tyler's book was really good. Hans is really looking like a solid, I think it might be a 5-er. We'll see how it ends. And then State of Bliss is like a 4 or 5. So like, come on now. Like, this is a great new release vlog. But also it's kind of cheating too because like I've been anticipating all of these books. So I kind of felt like I was just, you know, already going to be hyped. But whatever, like, I'm having a great time. I am 63% into Hans right now. And so they're after him. They've gone and they're like underneath one of his aliases hiding. And I think he's going to take the fight to their front door. So I'll let you know how it goes. I won't spoil it, but I'll let you know how I feel about it. So next time you see me, I won't be drenched in sweat with hair that needs to be washed. So look forward to that one, why don't you? Wow. Who is she? Washed hair and makeup? Anyway, welcome back. I am here to close the vlog out because I have finished both Hans and State of Bliss. So if I remember the last clip correctly, I'll talk about Hans. So let's go ahead and finish that one out. 5 stars. He's my favorite, which was really difficult for me to decide because I absolutely love Dom. I loved his book. I loved just the idea of him, of him worming his way into the Alliance. But there was really just something about the girl next door that drove Hans crazy, that he ended up like burning the world down for. If you know, you know. And there was just something about him that I appreciated so much. And I just like, he was just unhinged enough and just like so about her that I ate it up. Like, I love when you're reading a book and like Nero and King and Dom, like, I'm not hating on them. Like, there's so much about their women too, but there was just something about Hans and about how like the other three just like went right for it. And Hans is like, no, like I know the type of person I am. I know the type of life I lead. Like this isn't safe for her. Like I have to put her first. Like he held off as long as he could. Like my man tried so hard to make sure that she was going to be okay. And then finally he was just like, oh, I can't do it anymore. Like I gotta make her mine. And I just like, and just like how sweet he was to her, and just, you know, like how he cared for her, especially like when the baddies were after her, and like just the absolute burning down of the world that he did in order to make sure that she was protected and cared for. I appreciated that so much. Like there's just something about the fact that like he took care of her, but like never clipped her wings, I guess is the best way to say it. Because like that's kind of how like I feel. Like I want somebody who wants to be with me and who wants to be a partner and who wants to take care of me, but like is never going to prevent me from being who I am. I'm gonna take a sip of water because I really don't want to cough. However, I have been filming for a period of time, so anyways, Hans is my number one. I love him. I'm probably gonna do a ranking video for this. Anyway, I'm probably going to do a ranking video for this, so like I'll be able to gush about him later. But also too, this is like totally appropriate for me to be like, I'm obsessed with him. And there were just so many scenes in this book that I absolutely love. Like the garage sex scene, like the flamethrower scene. Was it a flamethrower? No, it wasn't. It was a rocket launcher. There were just so many things about like this book, and like kind of like, you know, him being able to avenge his sister and the role that Cassie played in that. And I just like, it was so good. Oh, it was so good. I have just so many amazing things to say about it. So definitely a 5 stars for Hans. A wonderful, I know that Ashley Tilley said that this is the end of the Alliance series. Like Hans is going to be the end. And it felt kind of final. Like I really enjoyed like the epilogues and like the different, because we saw viewpoints from like Peyton and King, and we kind of got to like get back with the other characters. So like it felt very final in the end. But I felt like it was a really nice ending for our couples. So next up, I'm gonna talk about State of Bliss. I really enjoyed this one. I thought that it was a very, like I was about halfway through, and the way that things were tracking, this mystery was very interesting. Like I really enjoyed the crime that happened in this one, and really enjoyed like what that looked like, and like the mastermind behind it, and like the death of a college student being about more than just like jealous love in a sense, because it really encompassed like a congressman. Like it became so convoluted, and it became so like, I don't even know how to say it, like so wrapped in each other that there wasn't like one clear picture of which way it was going to go, right? The reason why I'm giving it a 4-star, and it's not a detractor, like I really did enjoy it, is that like Sam was literally on vacation the entire book. Like she never came back and worked the case. Like she kind of gave like feedback or was like kept in the loop, but it really did center around Gonzo and Freddie and Cam and Gigi, like her, like the secondary cast, and Malone. And like, let me be clear, like the reason why I love reading this series so much is because there is such a well thought out secondary cast, and like there are other couples for us to follow, and it's like a family, and it's kind of just like watching an episode on TV and like seeing all of our favorite like friends, right? So that's why I really, really like following this series. However, Sam and Nick are the focal point of this, and I really feel like we stepped, like when she was at the beach house for the entire week, I understand the point of it was for her to be on vacation, but like I just wanted her to be a part of it more. And that's just me being selfish, because it really was like the conspiracy in this one, and like Gonzo finally getting to like the nitty gritty of it, and like him figuring it out was so impressive. And I love Gonzo, and I love Christina, and I love Freddie. And I'm glad that like Cameron and Gigi were able to work out what they needed. Like I really enjoyed all of this, right? So like it wasn't a bad book. I just like, oh, Sam's supposed to be in the thick of it, y'all. And let me tell you that Cliffy, I mean, it just is really setting up like the story of like the next one. So like I appreciate it, because like it ended on a like a little gasp. I gasped as I was listening to the audiobook on the way to training. But it was so good. Like I really liked it. So I just like, I selfishly wanted more of Sam, like kicking doors in and stuff, but like her role very much in this one was a little bit more first lady versus the homicide cop. Well, detective. Lieutenant? I think she's lieutenant. Yeah, she's Lieutenant Sam Holland. So it was just kind of like a shift from like her normal, but I really did also like the fact that like she was calling and checking in with their team, like making sure everything was okay. And then she was able to be there when like Nick needed her because there was a catastrophe that happened. And so I really kind of liked like the other side of it because, you know, she in the media kind of gets hit on the fact that like she's not 100% about like just Nick and just the presidency. And there's a lot of people who appreciate the fact that she's kept her job and a lot of people who are like, oh, she's not dedicated to the whatever. Right? But so I liked it, but it's just, I'm always going to want Sam in the thick of it. I'm always going to want her like kicking doors in and like bringing the baddies down, right? So on the second layer of that, I am interested to see where Stahl's storyline goes because I know I mentioned like the girls. We don't really have a whole lot of resolution on that. All we really know is like bodies have been found at his house and that when they went to visit him in... what is that called? When they went to visit him in prison, like he just is like, I did it because I could. I did it because nobody stopped me. Like he has like no remorse for the situation because I don't know, he's insane. So I'm interested to see like if that becomes like a secondary storyline in the next book, if we kind of veer from it, or if it ends up in turn like kind of like crashing into the situation we're definitely going to find ourselves in at the start of the next book. So I'll be interested to come May when that one releases. But yeah, that's what I got for you. So just to run it down, we gave, oh my gosh, I don't have it written down. Oh wait, I do. Hang on a second. I'm flipping in my journal. The Season of Secrets by QB Tyler, we gave 5 stars. Too Far by Abby Millsaps, we gave 5 stars. Hans by S.J. Tilley, 5 stars. And then State of Bliss by Marie Forst, we're going to be giving 4 stars because I think this is a really solid new release vlog. I don't care that it's kind of cheating because I've been anticipating all of these books, but I had a really great time. And to me, having a really great time when you read is like all that matters. So, with that being said, I don't know what, this is going to be going up on Tuesday, so this is going to be my first day back with kids since we went on winter break. So I'm going to go get some reading in before I'm too tired and I just have to go home and pass out. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to have to do another new release vlog sometime in the next couple of months just so I can kind of fangirl with the new releases. But as always, thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed and you really enjoyed the vlog, please go ahead and hit that subscribe bell because I have a lot more reading vlogs coming your direction. And yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching and I'm going to catch you in the next video. Bye.